Today we will be applying linear programming in another type of problem, which is very relevant, especially if you are into HR or finance, if you're top management and operations. And this kind of problem involves people. Organizations have people or employees, and we have to make sure that they get paid on time and they are assigned to their various tasks what they're supposed to do. This type of problem we're going to call it as scheduling problem. Before we move on to working with a scheduling problem, what kind of answers can we get from a scheduling problem if we solve it through linear programming? We can get answers to the following questions. How many employees are required to do a specific job, or how many people have which days off? You can't have all of them working 7 days a week. That would be wrong. If people are taking different days off, we have to make sure that we have enough people to cover the shifts in time. Now, moreover, once we look at a sensitivity report, we'll be able to figure out the maximum and the minimum amount of wage per shift that maintains the stability of the staffing plan. We will also be able to see the marginal gain or loss for additional employee required per day and the maximum or minimum amount of additional employees per day before that date is no longer binding. And we'll talk about it in much more detail later. Now, why should you care about this scheduling problem? Well, eventually you will be part of HR, or you will be a unit manager or a production scheduler or capacity planner, or if not, you will be dealing with accounts or financial forecasting of personnel. In all these cases, the answers that we're going to get from solving a scheduling problem will be very relevant. So let's move on to look at what kind of problem we're dealing with today. So let's talk about how staffing problems are solved in big surface facilities like destination theme parks such as Disney's Magic Kingdom or Universal Studios Islands of Adventure. Well, my personal favorite is Islands of Adventure because there's so much more to do, but who can ignore Mickey Mouse? You must know, or you must understand, that this product sold is an experience good, and it boils down to what kind of an experience each customer is having, and your staff has a big role to play in it, hence making a scheduling problem of the staff very, very important. The quality of the experience determines a part of the total value of destination vacation, because if you are spending 10 grand to 20 grand to have this experience, you would want to have your money's worth. So as you all know, theme parks like Disney or Universal Studios do not have the same amount of customers all the time. And these parks, in order to optimize their operations, schedule people or housekeeping, among other staff members, in order to make sure that they don't compromise on the quality as well as they don't end up spending extra money that they shouldn't have. So the staffing needs are dependent on the park attendance levels. Now, attendance varies daily. However, such variability is consistent week to week, excluding major holidays. Of course, on major holidays, there's a lot more people on a lot more days, so we are going to discount that. Having a sufficient number of housekeepers is critical to happy guests, as mentioned before, because if you are sitting on a bench and that bench has a gum on it, you will not be happy about that. So let's take a scenario and a kind of information that we will need to solve this particular scheduling problem. So let's assume that the seasonal housekeeping staff works 2 shifts 7 days a week. That makes 14 shifts in total. Now, it's not that each person works that, but all of the staff needs to be scheduled around this. The base wage, along with the demand by weekday, is given in the table right here in front of you. And we also should know that the different shifts are different hourly rate depending on an adjustment of the employee's days off. So if you look at the first table, we have if the employee is taking a Monday, Tuesday off, they are being given higher wage as compared to if an employee is taking Saturday and Sunday off. Of course, if you're having a benefit of spending the weekend with your family as compared to the person who's giving up the weekend for work, they should get compensated for that. So how to read this table? If an employee is taking a Monday, Tuesday off, they're paid $560 weekly wage and so forth. And we have assumed in this problem that employees take 2 consecutive days off. This was about the weekly wage, depending on which days employees are taking off. On the other hand, we also need to know on a regular day of the week what is the minimum staffing level requirement, because this information will allow us, along with the weekly wage information, to schedule the employees while making sure that the staffing requirements for the park are being met. Based on this information, here are some of the questions that we would try to answer. Question number 1, how many workers get which days off? Question number 2, how many people do we staff per day? And question number 3, what does the sensitivity report tells us? Let's move on to Excel worksheet and set up this problem there.